So here you go right here. Here's what those shad look like out here. He threw this one out of his mouth. That whole shad is intact, so it gives you kind of an idea what that thing looks like. So I've got two setups to mimic that. One of them is a Zoom Tiny Fluke, and the other one is that 2.5-inch swim bait that I shared with you guys in the last video. So it's nice to pick those shad up, look at the colors. You'll see little bitty colors sometimes of blue spots, all kinds of stuff, and you just try to mimic that as much as you can, especially on a high sunny day. You've got some pretty good water clarity out here, 3-4 feet. That sun's going to hit those little flakes sometimes, and that may be all it takes. Well, good morning everyone, it's Dalton back out here at Nacimiento, and just caught me a fish on a bait I've caught a lot of fish on. I think I might have to move my boat. I cast this bait out here and he grabbed it just as soon as it hit the bottom. Seems to be quite a few little ones over here right now, but this happened to me last time I was out here. I was catching, quite a few little ones, and I came across some big ones, including a nice 3-pounder on a swim bait. And I was getting bites on the swim bait a little while ago, but I wanted to try this little bait out again. I haven't thrown this in a while. I've caught so many fish on this thing. There's a whole bunch of fish backed up in this little pocket. I'm not that far from the launch ramp really. Decided to come over here and start fishing. I'll get this fish in. This little better one here. Oh yeah, this is a better fish here. There you go, buddy. All right, little fat chunky spotted bass. A lot of people ask me where I fish. Well, at least out here, we'll just kind of go with where I start. And I always start around the last area that I caught fish the last time I was on the lake. So I was getting ready to leave the other day, saw a bunch of splashing going on back here, came back here and caught quite a few. So that's kind of my starting point. It is the way I like to do it. It gives me sort of a point of reference, something to start with, and that kind of eliminates part of the battle right there, because if there's no fish back here, I can just simply move on to other areas, but I know I've eliminated this one. There he is. There's a bunch of spotted bass just jumping all over the place out here. And kind of having to stay moving with them. There's a bunch of them over here. Like I said, this is where I ended the last time I was out here fishing a few days ago. Come back out here and there's a whole bunch of bass still here. So it's just kind of a rule of thumb that I do. I highly recommend it. So back in this pocket where I started off, where I left off a few days ago, caught a few fish back there, nothing real big, several bites on that little Zoom Tiny Fluke. I've got my swim bait there ready with a 1/4 ounce head, because some of these fish will get out deeper. So that Zoom Tiny Fluke I'll throw up shallow, and that other one I'll throw out deeper. I'm also going to see if I can locate some crappie today. I'm not a great crappie fisherman. When I find them, I can catch them. I just have a hard time finding them, but I'm gonna go see if they're around some docks today, because that Zoom tiny fluke is a really good bait for crappie out here, especially some of those bigger ones. Yep. There we go. There's a crappie. Well, I'm looking in the water right now and I see literally a whole mess of little tiny shad. So they must have had a shad spawn. And they're just all over the place. They're little dinky ones. Now these crappie, they'll come in here and start swooping them up around these dock areas and stuff like that. I missed one. I lost one just a second ago, but there's literally a ton of them. And I don't know everything about shad spawns, but some of the stuff I've heard is they do spawn throughout the summer, you know, in whatever conditions they need to do so. But those are a bunch of tiny little shad, so they must have spawned. And I mean, there is a load of them over here. You know, like I said the other day when I was out here, I was catching some pretty big ones. Today I'm catching some pretty small ones, but using this light line, this light setup, it's still kind of fun. Now, what I'm on here is a flat, okay? And the first thing I look for is these buoys, which basically are plastic bottles they put out here to kind of let you know when it's going to break there from deep to shallow. So I park over here. Of course, there's a fish that jumped right there, and throwing this little fluke around. I'm in real shallow water, but I'm right near the break, right where it goes from deep to shallow. That's a good area to find fish sometimes. And what I'm going to do is just kind of cover this flat a little bit and see if I can catch a few more. I've already gotten a bunch of bites on this bait. Okay. I'm pretty sure you can see them. You see those floaties, those things floating out there. That's the little warning signs of, hey, it's getting real shallow. Right now I'm in 10 foot of water, but you go back this way, it gets real shallow. Come out here. I try to find where it's right along the break, okay, right where it dips into shallow or into deep water. And a lot of times, you know, fish just hang out right there and they ambush bait. Now, what winds up happening out here is a lot of times the wakeboarders or the jet skis will go ahead and come through here. They don't seem to care about the shallow water. They'll come through here and pretty much my fishing's done because they'll tear the area up. But at least over in this area. But this is what I try to do. Just find those little breaks, and you'd be amazed how many fish would be there. Yeah, whole mess of them here just hanging off the break. And I think I'm getting ready for some waves. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. I got some wakeboarders coming. Well, I'm going to go on upriver, and I'm going to be trying some things today that I haven't done out here in a while. But I just wanted to kind of show you a bait here, just a simple bait that'll catch loads of fish. It'll catch big fish if you can get it around them, but it'll catch a lot of small ones. It'll catch crappie, that kind of stuff. You just take one of these Zoom tiny flukes. Now this right here is smoking shad. You get them in a 20 pack. The way I set this up, I put this on a really light rod. This is a 1/10 ounce Z-Man jig head used for a Ned rig. I've got 6-pound test fluorocarbon line, 8-pound test braid. I'm running about a 8 or 10 foot leader on this. Now, this little rod I'm using, I only paid about 70 bucks for this whole setup. This is called a Laguna. It's a real medium action rod, has a lot of flex. You can take small baits and light line and cast them a long ways. Typically I never go over 6-pound test on this rod. It's going to be 4 to 6 pound test. This reel I'm using is a Daiwa Revros, and a Revros 1000. It's been a pretty good little reel. I bought it predominantly, you know, for a crappie setup, but I use it for bass as well. And the way I work this thing is I'll just cast it out and I just swim it back, just like a little swim bait. It's kind of looks more natural as a shad, because the little shad don't really have this kind of movement on their tail, even though there are times you need that boot tail so the fish will hone in on it a little bit better from a distance. But they just kind of fish, or excuse me, they just kind of swim straight along. And so that's a very natural, that little fluke is very natural. The other way I do is I will work it as an Ed rig. I will just let it hit the bottom and just start dragging it. Sometimes I'll hop it, sometimes I'll pop it around. I got a bunch of bites on this. I could catch a bunch more fish on it, but I want to go try some other things. But catching a bunch of fish out here on this little Zoom Tiny Fluke is something I've done for a long time. One more thing that's very effective with this bait, a drop shot. Little tiny drop shot hook, 4 to 6 pound test, some really light line, a light weight. Throw that thing on the bottom, move it around. You'd be surprised how many bites you'll get on this, you know, on a drop shot. Well, I appreciate you all. I thank you for tuning in. I'm going to be heading back out to San Antonio. I wanted to come out here again today. Probably going to fish at San Antonio for a week or two and head right back out here, just kind of back and forth. Hey, just living the life, having fun, fishing. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'll talk to you next time.